Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's me again, Myrene Tezico, your student life coach for your success here in Canada. A lot of you may probably been asking, how much do I really need to study in Canada? Stay tuned because in this video, I will be discussing all the expenses that you needed to do, even the smallest one, for you to be able to become an international student here in Canada. The amount I'll be discussing here is in Canadian dollars, so make sure you have your pen, paper, and calculator and the currency from your country so that you can compute how much do you really need. Right, let's dive in. As an international student applicant, there are two main expenses that you need to have. This includes the proof of funds and the tuition fee. So what is proof of funds? In Philippines, proof of funds is mostly known as a show money, which is the money that you borrow from someone and then you'll pay it off once you are approved. However, we do not recommend this because being an international student is really expensive, and once you arrive here, you will only have part-time jobs which will be enough for your cost of living. Still, this is an option, but it's not suggested. Now, let's move forward with the breakdown of your expenses. I am going to show here both the single and the family applicant, as both have different expenses to provide. First off is the tuition fee. The tuition fee would range about 10, 15 to 20,000 Canadian dollars per year. Now, the tuition fee differs based on the school or the province that you are going to. However, if you're looking for the cheaper side, which is about 10,000 Canadian dollars, there are only limited options for that. Probably just 3 to 5 schools in the whole Canada. But if you have at least 15,000 Canadian dollars, then there would be more option for you to choose the college that you want, which probably have more programs to offer. Now, the most question here is, do you really need to pay for the one whole year tuition fee? The answer is yes and no. Yes, if you are applying for student direct stream, because this is a main requirement, you should be paying a 1-year tuition fee. No, because even if you don't pay your 1-year tuition fee, you can get a letter of acceptance, which is what you really need to apply for study permit. Now, there are schools that only require deposit, which will be around $1,000 or probably $2,000 or $6,000, but still, it depends on the school. If you are curious on how you can get your letter of acceptance, feel free to email us because we can help you for free until you get approved for your study permit. Again, expenses does not end there because getting a letter of acceptance is just one requirement. There are more expenses that you need to provide, in which we are going to discuss now. The second big expense is the proof of funds. How much proof of funds do you really need to show for the visa officer to say that yes, you are capable to study in Canada? Now, for the student applicant, you would need at least 10,000 Canadian dollars. Make sure to make a currency exchange in your own calculator and your own paper right now so that you can see how much you really need. 10,000 Canadian dollars for the student applicant. So if you're single, this is all you really need for the proof of funds. But if you're coming with your family, you should have at least 10,000 Canadian dollars for the student applicant, 4,000 Canadian dollars for your partner, and 3,000 Canadian dollars each for your dependents. Again, this amount is at least or minimum required by the Canadian government. If you have more to provide, the better, because there are higher chances that you will get your study permit approved. Although, it's not just the proof of funds that they look into for them to decide if you can really come to Canada as an international student. Now, how you can show that you have these funds? There are different ways for you to show your proof of funds. It could be either through your bank statement, your bank certificate, And there's also a guaranteed investment certificate in which you will need to send your money and create a bank account in Canada under your name and send your money there. Now, if you wanted to do this and you do not know how, we can also help you for free. You just need to email us and let us know that, hey, I need help to open an account for guaranteed investment certificate, and we will be gladly help. Done with the two main expenses, the tuition fee and the proof of funds. Other than proof of funds, you can also provide your assets, which will show that you can liquidate this in case you need it. Now, the next expenses will be the small things that you will need. Some are required and some are optional. I will be saying if it's required so that you have an idea that you really need to add this to your budget. Is medical, and yes, medical is required for everyone, especially if you're staying in Canada for more than 6 months, in which you will, because as an international student, you need to study for 1 or 2 years and stay there longer. Now, the medical would cost at about $275 per applicant. Now, if you're applying with your family, then you need to add this amount twice. But if you're applying with the kids, I believe the amount will be about half of it. The next one is the biometrics, which is again required. If you're applying as a single applicant, you would need $85 for this, and if you're applying as a family, then you will need to pay $170. There's also a visa fee of 150 Canadian dollars. And of course, your ticket, which will be around 1,250 to 2,000 Canadian dollars per person. Now again, it depends on the season. There are seasons that are peak, which is there's a higher amount of ticket or higher price that you need to pay. And I have noticed that it's usually by August or April or anything near your intake. There's also a VAT and logistics fees of around 80 Canadian dollars that you need to pay once your study permit is approved. Now, these are the standard and mandatory expenses that you need to pay. So far, we are at a total of 18,240 Canadian dollars. Assuming that your tuition fee deposit is $6,000, you provide a 10,000 Canadian dollars proof of funds, medical of $275, your biometrics of $85, your visa of $150, and your ticket of 1,500 Canadian dollars. Now, here are some other expenses that you may or you may not provide. These are optional, but some is really required by the schools that you're applying. The first in it is the IELTS or any other English test like Duolingo or TOEFL or PTE. Now, IELTS is not mandatory again if you're applying for regular stream and if your school do not require it. If you wanted to apply to school that does not require an IELTS, let us know so we can help you find one, and this is again for free. You don't need to pay us anything. Now, if in case the school that you have wanted would require an IELTS, you will need to take it and pay at about 300 Canadian dollars. There's also other option. If your school accepts Duolingo, it's a much cheaper option because per test is only 40 Canadian dollars. Another optional expense would be your travel insurance, which would cost you at around 250 Canadian dollars. Of course, if you got approved, you are so excited, you would like to bring some groceries with you, a new luggage, some clothes that you will need for winter in which you can just buy in Canada. But if you prefer to buy it from your country, make sure you have a budget for this. And I would say it will be around $500 to $1,000. But still, this depends upon you on how many you're going to buy. One more optional document is your transcripts. There are schools that do require your transcript to be shipped directly to the institution, and this may cost you at around $100 to $150. Some also seek assistance with their study permit application by hiring an agent or an immigration consultant. This usually ranges at around 1,000 to 3,000 Canadian dollars depending on the services that they offer. But don't worry if you do not have these funds. Again, we here at UniStudy, and me as being a former international student, and I understand your struggles, we do provide free assistance to every student of us. As long as you will get your letter of acceptance from us, we will help you with your study permit application. Aside from all of these expenses, you may also want to have some pocket money. Now, this really depends upon you of how much you would want to bring. If you haven't paid your accommodation yet, then you would want to bring more. But if your accommodation is ready and you just wanted to have some extra money, then you decide on how much you wanted to bring. If you're gonna ask me, when I got my study permit approved and traveled to Canada, I only brought $125 with me, in which I only use it when I went to the airport. Because of course, there's gonna be layovers, there's gonna be times when you'll be hungry, and that's the only thing I have, which is already enough. Because one meal here costs you at around $15. And again, groceries for me that time is already ready, so you might also want to consider that. If you think you have this amount of money that I have showed you, which would be around 20,000 to 25,000 Canadian dollars minimum, at least for a single applicant, and there will be more of course if you're family, then what are you waiting for? Maybe this is your time to chase your dream. You should start your journey now and become one of the students of UniStudy Canada, wherein we can assist you for free. So don't forget to email us now at info@unistudyca.com, and hopefully you'll have the same path as my path, wherein from being an international student, I became a permanent resident of Canada. If you have reached until this end, please comment down Apple so I know you are watching my videos until the end, and we don't know, I might give you some prizes for that. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and share it to your friends so that they can get useful information if they're also interested to study in Canada. And I do upload weekly, so make sure that you hit the bell button so you are updated. And I'll see you next time. Bye!